their emotions. Then he asks the instructor if anyone qualifies for the weapon test. She says Yoichi does. He's unaffected by demon spirit energy. To test them, Gyurin activates his sword. Most kids faint. Only a few remain standing, including Yoichi. These kids are taken for the final test. Gyurin notes that Yoichi is weak and inexperienced, but if he can control a demon, he'll be a great asset. The test area is filled with demon heads. Gyurin warns that any mistake will lead to possession. Yuichiro faces a demon who offers him power in exchange for control. He refuses. The demon binds him and shows visions of his friends telling him to accept the offer. But Yuichiro breaks free. The demon introduces herself as Shiramaru and says she likes him now. She agrees to give him her power, but under one condition: he must kill every vampire he sees. Yuichiro agrees. If he fails, Shiramaru will take control of his body. He accepts the deal. He wakes up and finds Kimizuki has also tamed his demon. Meanwhile, Yoichi meets his sister in his dream, who is actually his demon. She tells him he's too weak to avenge her and offers him power. Yoichi, terrified, agrees and becomes possessed. When Yoichi wakes up, he's no longer in control. Gyurin says they must eliminate him. Yuji was attacking them relentlessly, but Yuichiro and Kimizuki managed to block his strikes. They were his friends, after all. They didn't want to hurt him. During the intense battle, Yuichiro suddenly throws his sword aside. Yuji, now aiming his special weapon straight at him, is ready to strike. But Yuichiro, full of confidence, doesn't move an inch. His unwavering trust shakes something in Yuji, and then, just like that, Yuji snaps back to his senses. He's normal again. Overwhelmed, he runs to Yuichiro and hugs him tightly. Right then, Gyurin walks in and kicks Yuichiro, scolding him for throwing away his weapon in the middle of a fight. Then he turns to Yuji and tells him bluntly, "You need to get stronger. You'll never survive against vampires like this." Gyurin also knows about Yuichiro's recurring dreams. As Yuichiro gets up, Gyurin tells him, "You have to forget your old friends now. These new comrades, they're your family." Soon after, we learn that vampires have been spotted in a nearby city. The team sets out the next day, boarding a train for their first official mission. On the journey, Yuichiro asks Shirnoa, "Why are you always following me around?" She coolly replies, "I've been assigned to keep an eye on you, to make sure you don't mess up. You have a dangerous obsession with killing vampires. Remember, eventually, they arrive at their destination, where they reunite with Kimizuki and Yuji. There, a new girl joins them, Mitsuba, who's also been added to their team. But as soon as Mitsuba learns that Shirnoa has been made the team leader, she's furious. She challenges Shirnoa to a fight, wanting to test her strength. Just as things heat up, Gyurin appears and stops them both, warning, "If you two pull this stunt again, there will be consequences." Gyurin then introduces Mitsuba to the team, explaining that every vampire hunting unit consists of 5 members. The goal is to defeat vampires using teamwork, so that no one dies in vain. But Yuichiro couldn't care less. "I just want to find some vampires and kill them already," he says. Mitsuba doesn't like his attitude. She suddenly lunges at him, but Yuichiro grabs her legs mid-attack, stopping her. "Why the hell are you attacking me?" he asks. "I just wanted to test your reflexes," she smirks. Gyurin, once again stepping in as the voice of reason, reminds them, going in and killing vampires blindly is foolish. We're here to rescue human servants, not start a war. Only fight if absolutely necessary. With that, the team moves deeper into vampire territory. As they enter the danger zone, Mitsuba reminds everyone, "Stay alert. From here on out, we can't afford any mistakes." Because in this area, vampires could attack at any moment, everyone remained on high alert. Just then, Yuichiro spots a little girl in the distance, with a monster chasing right behind her. She was moments away from being caught. Yuichiro instinctively rushes to help, but Mitsuba grabs his arm and stops him. "Wait," she warns. "This could be a vampire's trap." Yuichiro hesitates. He watches for a moment. But as the girl's screams grow more desperate, he can't hold back any longer. Ignoring the warning, he dashes forward to save her. Just as the monster lunges at the girl, Yuichiro arrives and slices off its arm. But now, the monster locks eyes on Yuichiro. He's the new target. Suddenly, Mitsuba appears at the last second and slashes the monster down, saving both Yuichiro and the girl. They manage to get her to safety. Turns out Mitsuba was right. It was a vampire's trick. They had been watching the whole time. And now, they launch a surprise attack. 3 vampires suddenly appear, surrounding the group. During the battle, Yuichiro activates his Cursed Gear's demonic power. Strange marks begin to spread across half of his body, glowing ominously. At the same time, the monster from earlier, barely alive, attacks again. But this time, the team works in perfect coordination. With swift teamwork, they slay the monster for good. Yuichiro, now surging with power, confronts the vampires. He's ready to finish them off. He lands powerful blows, pushing them back, almost taking them down. But strangely, the vampires retreat at the last moment. Yuichiro, panting, watches them flee. Determined, he starts chasing after them. As the group tries to regroup, Shirnoa urgently warns them. We've crossed deep into vampire territory. If we don't leave soon, they'll call reinforcements. Heeding her warning, they return to their makeshift base camp. The little girl, now safe, thanks Yuichiro for saving her. Mitsuba reassures her that she's safe now, but then turns to yell at Yuichiro, furious that he risked all their lives. Still, she knows if Yuichiro hadn't acted, the girl would have died. So, despite her frustration, Mitsuba forgives him. Later, the girl reveals something crucial. The vampire hideout is inside an old train station. The next day, the team heads straight there. As they sneak inside, they remain alert. Vampires could be anywhere. But to their surprise, they first come across a group of human children, frail and weak, drained of blood. Strangely, there are no vampires in sight. Technically, they could escape, but the kids refuse. Because the vampires had promised to protect them, as long as they obediently offered their blood. Some humans, desperate and scared, had accepted that deal. As the team moves deeper in, a lone vampire appears. Get ready, Mitsuba commands, but Yuichiro charges ahead, ignoring her, and slays the vampire in one strike. Mitsuba is furious at his recklessness, but before she can react, Yuichiro yanks her toward him. Another vampire had crept up behind her. With one swift motion, Yuichiro slices that one down too. Suddenly, more vampires emerge, some from the front, and 3 more from behind. They realize something awful. The girl had lied. The vampires confirm it themselves. They had sent her on purpose. If she had told the truth, her family would have been killed. Now, the real fight begins. The vampire leader grabs Mitsuba by the throat, lifting her off the ground. But the team refuses to give up. They fight back fiercely, working together with perfect coordination. Yuichiro unleashes a powerful attack and slays the leader. While some vampires remain, the team manages to rescue Mitsuba. Soon, the battlefield is surrounded by more vampires, and another brutal round begins. The battle continues until sunset, by which time, every last vampire is defeated, and all the kidnapped children are rescued. Back at base, the girl who had deceived them approaches Yuichiro, tears in her eyes. "I'm sorry," she whispers. Yuichiro gently replies, "It's okay. You did what you had to protect your family." She nods and walks away. Later, Mitsuba comes up to Yuichiro and quietly says thank you. He had saved her life. But without saying more, she walks off. The next day, Kimizuki is seen fiddling with a broken-down car nearby. By some miracle, he gets it running. Yuichiro, surprised, asks, "Wait, you can drive?" Kimizuki shrugs. "Nope, I was just fixing it." So now, Yuichiro begins learning to drive on the spot. He crashes several times, but eventually gets good enough to transport the team from camp to camp. Just as they're driving, a high-ranking vampire suddenly appears in their path. The brakes fail, so they jump out of the car, rolling on the ground. The vampire effortlessly catches the car with one hand and hurls it at them. The car explodes in a massive fireball. Luckily, they dodge in time, but the vampire wastes no time launching an attack. Yuichiro intercepts the blow and hurls the vampire back with a fierce counter. They think maybe they can take him down together, but then 2 more vampires arrive. Yuichiro grits his teeth. There's no way we can defeat all 3. But Shirnoa stands firm. If we run, we die anyway. We fight with everything we've got. Just then, one of the new vampires, a girl, turns to the first one and says, "Ferret is calling for you." As the group prepares to leave, the high-ranking vampire suddenly appears behind Yuichiro and says coldly, "We'll finish this fight another time." With that, he disappears into the shadows. Shirnoa breathes a sigh of relief. They had no chance of defeating a vampire of his caliber, and yet, they had survived. But Yuichiro is fuming. He realizes that the vampire had merely been toying with him. He hates that he's so much weaker. Seeing his frustration, Shirnoa tells him about magical curses, special combat techniques that can dramatically boost one's power. But there's a catch. Once activated, a person can lose control of their mind, becoming nothing more than a berserker who could even harm allies. That's why she warns Yuichiro not to consider it, at least not yet. They return to their base facility, but suddenly, unknown helicopters begin approaching from the sky. Assuming it's an attack, they open fire. Several helicopters are shot down, but a few manage to evade their attacks. Then, a massive plane crashes into the area. From the wreckage, 2 vampires emerge, glance around, and say, "Everything looks clear. Proceed." Soon, more vampires begin pouring out of the aircraft. As Yuichiro and his team arrive at the scene, they quickly realize they're under full-scale assault. Despite jumping in to help, they're vastly outnumbered, and holding off the vampire forces becomes harder and harder. But just when things seem bleak, a reinforcement squad arrives and joins the battle. Meanwhile, the helicopters that had dodged the earlier attack circle back for another strike. Yuichiro fires at them with his special weapon, bringing one down, but then a vampire charges at him from behind. Shirnoa rushes in just in time, saving him. Regaining his stance, Yuichiro blasts another chopper out of the sky. Through pure teamwork and relentless fighting, they defeat the vampire forces within minutes. The nearby soldiers thank them sincerely. As they prepare to move out, the team is informed that they need to head to the West facility next, which is also under threat. Meanwhile, at the East facility, we see Guren observing from afar, eyes fixed on Ferret, the vampire commander. Mika is there too, standing beside Ferret and his vampire army. They're preparing an attack on the facility. A girl walks up to Guren, but suddenly a vampire lunges at her. Just in time, another woman appears, a high-ranking officer from the demon army, and with little effort, she slays the vampire. Her name is Mito. More elite members arrive at her side. Guren turns to them and says, "We must eliminate Ferret before he breaks into the facility." On the other side, Ferret is talking to Mika, asking slyly, "If Yuichiro shows up, will you be able to kill him?" Mika says nothing and simply walks away. Flashback. 4 years ago, we see the moment Queen Krull saved Mika. She warned him that if he didn't drink human blood, he would die. "That's just how vampires work," she said. "But if you drink it, you can live, immortally." But Mika wasn't a monster. He didn't want to become one. Krull descended the stairs and calmly poured her own blood into a glass, offering it to him. Disgusted, Mika slapped the glass away. Krull coldly replied, "Fine. If you'd rather die, go ahead." She turned to leave, but at the last moment, Mika grabbed her hand and began to drink. Back in the present, Yuichiro and his group are traveling to the West facility as backup. On the way, Shirnoa shows everyone a set of special pills. "These increase your power temporarily," she explains. "1 pill doubles your strength. 2, it triples it. With this, you can even fight high-ranking vampires." Yuichiro's eyes widen. "Wait, that's insane. What if I pop 10 pills at once?" Kimizuki replies bluntly, "Then you'll die. Your organs will explode." These pills fuel your demon's energy, not your body. Even 2 pills come with major side effects. Yuichiro grumbles, "Why didn't you give us these earlier? We already fought a high-ranking vampire." Shirnoa explains, "We didn't have the chance. Each pill only lasts 15 minutes. And they take 10 seconds to activate, which we didn't have during the last battle." Just then, a sudden attack erupts. Their truck is under fire, and the assault is coming from a helicopter above. The group scrambles to exit the vehicle. Yuichiro notices the driver is unconscious. Without hesitation, he rushes to pull him to safety, but the helicopter opens fire again, forcing Yuichiro and the others to shield themselves behind their weapons, barely fending off the onslaught. Yuichi retaliates, aiming his special weapon at the chopper. With precision, he blasts it out of the sky, but not before it launches a missile directly at their truck. Boom! The truck explodes on impact, and the explosion causes the ground beneath them to collapse. They fall into a mysterious underground chamber, now trapped. As the dust settles, they realize that a wall of rubble separates their team. Half of them are on one side, half on the other. Yuichiro finds himself with the injured driver and quickly moves him to a safer area so he can be treated. Before parting ways, both sides of the team call out to each other, saying their goodbyes, hoping they'll meet again, and telling each other to stay safe. Meanwhile, we shift scenes to Mika, who now stands face to face with Yurin. Tension crackles in the air. Suddenly, Ferret and the rest of the vampire squad arrive, joining Mika. But Yurin's own forces show up at the same time, locking eyes with their enemies. Both sides are armed, prepared, and moments away from battle. The story cuts to a medical facility where the injured soldier